solution to the problems of this nation are bigger than an election. A lot has happened in the land. A lot of wickedness, abomination has happened in the land since 1961 up to date. That an election cannot solve it. A lot need to be done. So God is interested in our nation and want to solve the problems that the nation has been experiencing right up to the roots. And in the prophecy God gave me, that He has rejected the current leadership and He has chosen His church in the land to bring justice, uphold His righteousness, forgiveness, peace, reconciliation, and harmony in the land without any external force. The solution to our problem lies in us. If we are united in the same purpose, heaven is going to back us. And the truth is that in this particular time and season, the Lord is interested to heal our land. So, what do Cameroonians really need? In the prophecy, God told me, He called Cameroon in plural, and history holds it that there are two Cameroons that came together. Yes. So, presently, the elections that the government is planning to carry out cannot solve the problems that have been created, especially by the current regime. That is the truth. That is the reality on ground. So that is why the Lord is using me to speak His mind to the people of Cameroon on the solution and the way forward. I know when you look at the political climate and the activities and the aspiration of Cameroon, they need a savior and they need a solution in their current situation. But we must be realistic and factual about what we are doing to achieve the change that we want. So, what Cameroonians need in this current time and season is not an election. Cameroonians need healing. Cameroonians need forgiveness. Cameroonians need harmony. Cameroonians need reconciliation. There has been a war going on in English Cameroon for more than 8 years. No election can solve that war. And the reality is that the election may even be effective in the other 8 regions, but in the English region, the elections can never be effective. So what do Cameroonians need? A lot has been done. The current regime has destroyed this nation, that only the Lord can repair it. They have destroyed the structures of the state. They have twisted the constitution to their own favor. They have taken away all power from the people. Beginning from the executive, the legislative, the judiciary, none of these organs of the state are working for the people of Cameroon. That is why heaven, who have heard the cry of the people of Cameroon, have decided to intervene Himself. And that is why I'm speaking to you, the mind of God in this particular time and season. Cameroonians do not need any election. Look at the election the government is talking about, the Constitutional Council. We have the election body. They are ruled by the current regime. The Minister of Territorial Administration is doing things that will only favor the current regime and his party. And even those who are contesting for this election, they are already complaining of electoral fraud. So what is the way forward? You will be asking God's servant, what is the way forward? From what God has mandated the church to do is to organize an all-inclusive dialogue for all Cameroonians. An all-inclusive dialogue for all Cameroonians is the way forward. In that dialogue, justice will be served to all those who have destroyed this particular nation. And as I tell you the reality on ground, this current regime has brought in divide and rule, and has brought in enmity, and the connection between two brothers, the English speaking and the French brothers, is no longer intact. Most of the English people, they don't know where to go. But if you look at the majority of the English speaking people, they want to leave the union. So no election can solve the current crisis that Cameroon has been going through. So the way forward is an all Cameroonians inclusive dialogue. There are many Cameroonians who have been imprisoned because they spoke against the regime. There are hundreds of thousands of Cameroonians on exile in foreign nations that cannot enter this particular nation because of the current regime. So the way forward is an all-inclusive dialogue that God has mandated His church to carry out. What I may do may not make sense to you, but the reality is that the way out of Cameroon, only God can save Cameroon. The current regime has destroyed the nation, abused power, used the resources of the nation for their selfish interests, and have infiltrated even the military in the land, and they are not serving the people. They obey only the instructions of the regime. They have rendered the institutions of the state useless. The judiciary is not independent. And all the abomination that the regime Obiah, beginning from him, his ministers, his governors, his SDOs, his directors, and all those who form his cabinet, they are useless to the people of Cameroon. They are not serving the people of Cameroon. That is why Cameroon is helpless in this particular situation. Cameroon is indirectly a kingdom. But what they are trying to portray to the international community is that Cameroon is a democratic country. And the election in October, there will be no different, because the incumbent has already won the election. And that is the intention. The regime is forcing an election is to make the world to know that Cameroon is not a kingdom. Indirectly, it's a kingdom that benefits the people in power and all those around them. But the bad news is that is the end of this particular regime. The dialogue must hold. That is the way forward. From the dialogue, a new constitution will be drafted. The form of state will be addressed. The form of state does not favor the aspiration of Cameroonians. We are in a nation that more than 90% are wallowing in abject poverty. And there is no freedom of speech in the land. So the Lord has mandated His church in the land, under the leadership of His servant speaking to you, to initiate this particular dialogue. There will be nothing like any external influence. Not even France or any colonial power will be able to mingle in the affairs of Cameroon. God has mandated the people of Cameroon to solve their problems. And this can only happen if there is a roundtable conference, in which conditions must be met. There will be demilitarization of all the English regions. There will be a release of all political prisoners who have been illegally detained for speaking up against this particular regime. There will be amnesty to all Cameroonians who are in exile because they spoke against the regime. These are the things that will be done, and that must be done. So the Lord told me to tell the current regime, like in my previous video, I told the authorities in the land, they don't have time on their part. Yes, God told me to tell them to cooperate with the church. That is why I am saying it again. I am in the nation of Cameroon. Whatever want to happen, let it happen. But Cameroon must be saved. That I'm ready to meet President Biya and his cabinet members for a peaceful transition. God has rejected this particular government, and they have no options. Either they surrender peacefully or they face the wrath of God. I'm just the mouthpiece of God. All the killings and all the abominable things that are going on, God is taking note of. And this particular regime has nothing but to cooperate. So the way forward for the people of Cameroon is an all-inclusive dialogue. And in that dialogue, nobody is going to dictate what is going to be spoken. I admire the zeal of some of the political aspirants, presidential aspirants like Samuel Eyodi, Hiram Samuel Eyodi, the youngest, and the other one, Atiki Beta. I have listened to their manifesto and what they say they will do if elected. They have good ideas for a peaceful and prosperous Cameroon, but the problem is where to implement it. The current regime and the colonial powers manipulating the affairs of this nation will not give them the opportunity. Only the church, that even somewhere AUD, my French speaking brother and the other, better ethically, that only the church of Jesus has what it takes to give them that particular platform to do what they want to do, to bring forward a prosperous Cameroon. And there are many other Cameroonians who cannot speak. They have good ideas because they are afraid of the regime. So I am here on air to say this: the way forward for a peaceful, prosperous Cameroon, one, we need to sit down on the table. The Biya regime must cooperate. There is a time limit that God has set. If they don't cooperate, the dialogue will still hold, but they will not see the dialogue. It's not negotiable. So this particular video is to tell the people of Cameroon what they need in this particular season and how it can be accomplished. So it is God's servant Herbert Mua. Thank you for watching this particular video, and stay tuned for subsequent video. Remember, share and like this particular video. And the reality on ground, we must work as a team to grow this page. I have reached out to media outlets in Cameroon. They cannot carry this kind of video or this kind of message that I carry because they are afraid of the regime. But we cannot remain quiet and allow our nation completely be destroyed. It is time for us to rise, and we have risen, and no power will stop us. God bless you for watching this particular video. See you in the next video.